Hello and welcome to Shad's Voice, where I usually get a topic from a random topic generator and then I talk about it until I can't anymore. And as crazy as it sounds, maybe it's because I've just did so many by this point and I've gone through a lot of random topic generators or something is not always reaching out to me or being interesting or I just don't feel like answering it. I don't know what it is. But sometimes it's getting difficult to actually find a new topic, which is kind of insane because there's absolutely everything that I can talk about, but almost everything. Trying to avoid the politics and major stuff like that. But yeah, for once, I can say I'm almost running out of topics, but I'll just go off this topic myself. So the topic that I'm choosing right now, I think it's my first choosing. Um, is writing, which, if you've heard quite a few of my Shad's Voice videos before, I probably talked about, well, not only am I an artist, I write stories, I journal at night, and all that fun stuff. I've also written a few stupid song parodies. Yeah, funny story on those too. But topic is writing. And um, maybe you might write, or obviously, writing and spelling has been a part of most of our lives. I would hope, especially going to school. You probably found that was the time of your life that you probably did the most writing. Um, and yeah, who wants to write during a test and stuff like that? And essays probably weren't always fun. But this is more like free writing, writing whatever you want or whatever you feel like you need to write and stuff like that. Or and actually enjoying writing. So when I was growing up, well, still sort of there, um, I loved reading books. Obviously, I still would read more if only I had the time to. And I love fantasy. So, like, I really love reading fantasy stories. So that kind of been the thing of I want to write my own fantasy stories, and I created my own story characters and all that, my own worlds, and writing as well as trying to show them, but it doesn't always come out how you would love to show this character because you have no idea what their thoughts are, what they're like, and reading words has the power of showing you these things, and writing about them kind of almost makes you learn about that character as well that you might not have even thought about. Sometimes your story carries itself as you're writing, which is insane. Uh, and it goes somewhere that you didn't originally plan. And it's like, oh, it fell together and I didn't even realize it did. It's kind of insane that sometimes it can just happen that way. And it's just, was it planned? You have no idea because your hand and your mind just kind of took you there. And that's what I love about writing probably the most. So, writing my stories, coming up with my characters, um, trying my best to create the sense of making them real that they're real beings breathing at that moment, living, um, talking, eating. All of that has like a magic to it. And that's why I kind of love writing and creating. And it's kind of weird because I find it. Okay, so not every day, like I said, I don't talk to a whole bunch of people every day. I interact the most with like my mother and online friends and my coworkers, and possibly once in a while or every day I'm exposed to customers of in my field of work. And most of the time that's not for long, whenever it's during an 8-hour shift. So anything can happen, anything can go, but it's usually short. So what makes writing different from that is a sense of a long exposure and knowing these characters and getting to know them rather as you're seeing them every time, every day, every minute almost, and or they'll come back. And it's like a longtime friend who is always there even if they're gone for a short while, if that makes sense. And to me, as a writer who especially have not forgotten my own characters, but they could be gone, quote unquote, gone for a while because I haven't written through their thoughts or what they're doing or anything. But that doesn't mean they're gone, and I still love them and stuff like that. And writing is my connection still to a lot of characters and stuff like that. Um, I write journal every night, and I have, surprisingly, it's been my longest commitment, I would say, in life to write journal every night for it's been over 5 years, 6 years that I've been writing journal, and I usually do not hold on to a lot of commitments that long, especially if it's a single everyday thing. Is I couldn't even hold drawing to that level. But somehow one day it came to mind, write journal every night before bed, and that's when I do it before bed, before I go to bed. I write down usually what happened that day, and some freaking entries are just lackluster. Or what I'm trying to work on is also writing down any random thoughts that come to mind. And I've been failing at that, but if anything just comes to mind and I feel like I need to write about, I'll try to write about. And the reason for that, well, not only is it good so you remember things that happen, um, more than just like remembering when you read about it, that you could be like, oh yeah, I remember that moment, but it will actually help your memory as of, oh yeah, this happened yesterday, and I can tell you this, 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 and this, or this happened last week, or last month, or last year. That it can improve your memory a lot if you write things down. And it doesn't have to be written down a million times. It literally can be almost probably written once, depending on who you are. Um, or how you are. Because, I mean, some people have bad memories. Let's be real here. Um, uh, so, writing has, like I said, had a very big change in my life. And not only have I written because I've wanted to write, but it's a way of almost telling my story without directly telling my story. I've used my characters and a lot of characters as a reflection of how I feel and mostly how I am as a person, and knowing my own struggles and stuff like that. And and that's why I love most of my characters, is because each one had kind of my own personality brought into them in some kind of way. So it's like seeing a reflection of myself in them, but not necessarily all the time. But it makes me come to terms that this is how I am as a person, but I could also evolve like them possibly in any situation. And no matter what I'm going through or what they're going through, it can be better. It can change and stuff like that. And yeah, having that and knowing that not only is it myself, but it can happen to anybody. That's what makes reading magical, relatable. Reading about anything, even if it's like fantasy or real life, people can go through it just like you and me. And it can be crazy. It can definitely be crazy. And it's one of the things I think why it's important um, to a lot of people to use reading as an escape. I would say escape to another world or something, as to why um, they like doing it, because they're looking for almost like a relatability, and could be good or bad. But like I said, that sense of relatability is the reason why what we try to look into a lot of things. I mean, not only writing or reading, but listening to music or playing video games or watching movies or things like that. It's what I think we search for as people, as human beings, that sense of relatability. And I think that's why it's important that we want to get out how we are as people. So the easiest almost way to do that is to, in my opinion, write it out. Thoughts, quotes, song lyrics, things, and they're all words. That's the insanity. It all comes out in words that you can write on paper. It's easier for me probably to write them out than obviously talking now, which is crazy in my opinion, but that's how I feel. Like it's like I could type this all out better than saying it right now as you're listening to this video. And as much as that says anything, yeah, it's a hell of a lot easier typing it all out and and writing it all out than it is saying. And I will admit that, because obviously you don't say or type or you don't type and all of that besides saying it, because your brain and your mouth doesn't catch up all this at the same time. It's kind of Crazy how that works, right? And yeah, all the pauses. Writing is a straightforward way to get the words out and how you want to say them without sounding stupid, I guess. And if I could, I would encourage everybody to give writing a try. And it doesn't have to be journaling every night if you don't want to be. Just try writing something. Even if it's a short story or come up with a quote or a few quotes. You don't have to write a long song. Man, writing parodies of songs is probably the hardest thing that I've ever tried to do, but some of them worked out, some of them just like eh. But I mean, coming up with your own quote might not be that hard. I mean, poems is another thing. I'm not much of a poem reader or writer, but you can attempt that if you really wanted to. Just stories have been my go-to, and short stories and stuff like that. But even if you just want to write a conversation between two people, you don't have to give them names, probably. I don't know. Just like writing out a conversation of anything could tell you about yourself that you didn't even know. I don't know. I'm just throwing out random ideas right now. But I think, yeah, writing, big way of getting thoughts and feelings out more than what you would probably think. And I will encourage you, definitely give it a try. And I think that will do it for this video. And I've talked long enough. If you listen to this, thank you, and I will see you in the next one. And bye bye.